wonder if that's an
Hi there. It's been a while. In fact, way longer than I thought it had been. I, in my head for the last couple months, have thought the last video I uploaded to my channel was in the fall, vaguely, October, maybe November, and then I went and looked and it was 10 months ago. I did not intend to take that long of a hiatus, and I apologize for doing it without actually saying anything, because I didn't intend to do it. I just kind of stopped wanting to film and edit videos, and then it just turned into a hiatus, and I thought, well, I'll come out of it eventually. I want to start off by saying, first of all, I have gotten, every couple weeks I will get an email from someone who has like a question or wants some advice, and they will mention my channel and say nice things about it, about how they still watch the old videos and it helps them, and I really appreciate that. It used to be that when I would go on YouTube, which is every day still, I would see any new comments I would have on my videos in that little bell up in the top right corner, and that stopped months and months ago, and I thought, well, that's because I'm not uploading videos, so it makes sense. But then I went into the studio for the first time in months yesterday and realized I'm still getting comments on older videos, and a lot of them are saying things like, hey, I know you're not uploading videos anymore, I just wanted to let you know that this really helped me, or just saying nice things like that. And I am so sorry that I am incredibly behind on comments. I really didn't think I was getting any, so thank you if you're still watching, and thank you for watching this video for this channel's resurrection, because I have just been feeling the urge to pull out the camera and film. So obviously there's a lot of updating to do. We are in a new location, and that location would be Brooklyn. And but I want to start with just getting right into the work week, because the videos that, or the kind of videos that I have been feeling like I want to make are just sharing week in my work life, editing and writing, and if there's any publishing gossip to talk about along the way, then we shall do so. So here's the work update of where I am right now. Every Sunday I sit down in my planner and I go through what I did last week, where all my projects currently stand, and what I need to do this coming week. And right now, here is a rundown of all of the projects that I have going on. I have 3 ghostwriting projects. One is the biggest one is writing. The client had half, maybe 3/4 of a draft written. I am finishing that draft and then outlining the sequel and then writing the sequel. So that is going to be over the next couple months. Right now I am in the writing the end of the book 1 stage, and so today I'm going to be focusing on writing a couple chapters. And then the second ghostwriting client, we are developing a outline for a very, very big epic fantasy. This person has tons of documents, world building, character sheets, even old drafts that they don't want to use because they've had new ideas since then, but that we can mine some gold from. And that is a big project too. We've actually stretched that out into the fall, so I have some updates there. And the final ghostwriting project is almost complete. It is a book proposal, so sample chapters, a summary of the remainder of the novel, and a log line and a pitch, and that full package to send to an editor, because they actually do have an editor who is interested in the concept. So yeah, a proposal which is almost finished. There's just a little bit of revising to be done, but all the main components are there. And then I'm still working at the book packager, a job I love very much. We are, just a short rundown if you don't know what that means. It means that I am part of a team of editors. We come up with ideas for high concept novels. We develop them into pitches, and then we develop those into outlines, and then we audition writers and find a writer and hire a writer to write the sample chapters and bring their voice and their uniqueness to the project, and then we put the package together and put it out on submission. And right now, one of the projects that I am the lead editor on is in the audition phase, which is super exciting. And it's also really fun for me because most of that job is spent developing and outlining, which you guys know I love. I'm a big outliner, but this part of the process means I just get to read and read and read and read, and that is such a fun break from writing. And for this project, oh my god, we put a call out for just samples of writing in this genre and got so much interest. It was overwhelming, but in a really great way. So I've spent the last couple weeks just reading tons and tons of amazing samples, and the rest of the team also reads, and we discuss and debate and choose a small pool of writers that we want to audition for this specific project, which means that they receive more details about the premise, a short summary of the book, and then beats for a scene, a 3,000 word scene in the book that we want them to write, so we can see how they treat the characters and the world building and the pacing and all of that good stuff. And most importantly, the voice they bring to it. Because sometimes we find an author who really brings the book to life in the way we envisioned, and that's awesome. But a few times it's happened in past projects where we found an author who brings the book to life in a way we didn't envision, and we like it even better. Which is a quick little tip for you if you've ever auditioned for an IP project or a book package or thing. Don't be afraid, like follow whatever instructions you're given. Mine always say, these beats are suggestions, we want to see them, but if you find a different way to make the scene flow, and that means moving some stuff around, adding a little bit, that's totally fine. Like, follow your instincts. And that experimentation has really, I think, been what ultimately makes some authors stand out, because they lock into the book, and it shows me that they understand it on like a higher level, if that makes sense. Because here's the truth, and I know this as an author myself, and I'm sure you do too. Even if you make the most meticulous outline and you really think you have the whole book figured out, once you start drafting, things happen. You just learn more about the characters and the story in the drafting phase than you do no matter how extensive your outlines are. And I love seeing that discovery process come to life with authors. Long story short, we are in the middle of doing that right now, and reading these samples has been incredible, and we're really lucky to have so many amazing authors who want to, do this project. So, all that is to say, yesterday was a very dreary, rainy Monday, and it was a great day to spend just reading. And I'm also working on my own mystery thriller, which I will talk more about later, but it is really developed. I don't have an outline, but I do have a summary and a vague idea of Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and I just really felt like the next thing I need to do is just start writing and get in this character's head. It is very difficult for me to have a day, especially a book packager, 9 to 5 kind of day, where I'm in reading and writing mode and then clock out of that and work on my own book. Sometimes I just feel like I need a break, but I really want to make progress on this, so I set a timer for 30 minutes and I just draft. I did it yesterday at 5:30, and by 6 o'clock I had like 400 words, nothing crazy, but you know what? It's 400 words that I didn't have before, and it keeps my head in the book, in the story, even if it's just a little bit every day. So, and then the final project I have that I don't think I'll be working on today, but I will definitely be getting more into later this week, is a very good friend of mine who is also an author. We have been looking for an idea to co-author together for like a decade, and we finally thought of it a couple months ago, I think, and we are diving in. I mean, the beautiful thing about co-authoring is that it's the speed is like compounded. The two of you working together, the whole process goes more than twice as fast because you're bouncing ideas off each other and it all kind of snowballs. So we already have, like, I would say we know the structure of what this book is going to be. We know our characters pretty well, and we're going to really try to rip this thing out really fast. It's very fun. I love co-authoring. So those are, I hope I've covered everything. Checking my list. Yes, those are all of the work items I have to do. Today is Tuesday, so it's going to be more focused on all of the ghostwriting stuff. Like I said, mostly writing chapters for that, the remainder of book 1 for that ghostwriting project, and checking in with my other 2 clients. And I did forget one thing. I just glanced over and saw it. Some of you guys know I offer query and synopsis and chapter critiques. I do full manuscript and partial manuscript developmental editing. I do consultations. I actually, like 2 months ago, lowered my rates on that. This was on my Substack, so I will put a link to that down below. It's got my contact information if you are interested in any of that kind of stuff. I had a consultation with someone last week, I think, and after that they asked me to do a partial developmental edit on the first 20-30 something thousand words of their manuscript. And so that is also going to be due in 2 weeks, and I will be getting started on that. I think the ghostwriting is going to be the priority today, so tomorrow getting a good portion of that read and starting my edit letter is going to be my priority for Wednesday. So that is all of the stuff that I have on my list of things to do, and I have a lot more to update you guys on, but I really need to get to work, so let's do this. All right, well, that was actually a really productive morning. I would say I worked about 9 to 11:30, maybe 11:45, and got more than I thought I would on that ghostwriting project. I think it was just under 5,000 words, which was great progress. Emailed that client, and then I took care of a quick revision on the second ghostwriting client book proposal. It was actually, once I read her messages and her feedback, it was an easier note than I had realized, so that didn't take much time at all. And then Rosa and I enjoyed another rainy walk. It is very... Spring arrived here in New York last week, and it was really beautiful, but yesterday and today I feel like I am solidly back in the Pacific Northwest, which is not a complaint. It's cool, it's drizzly, it's lovely. I'm kind of ready for some sun though, but anyway. So after lunch, I exported the video I filmed this morning and I put it in Final Cut, because in my head I was like, if I really have not done this in 10 months, I'm probably going to have to relearn how to edit videos. But I was pleasantly surprised that once I opened Final Cut and uploaded all my footage that I had taken, I was like, oh no, this is like riding a bike. I remember how to do all this. So I saved it. That'll be a problem for future Michelle editing the video. I just kind of wanted to make sure I still remembered. I just wanted to chat a little bit before I do my 30 minutes on my mystery about where things are right now. Otherwise, just a little catch up. First of all, while I did disappear from YouTube, I have been very consistent about posting on Substack, which I started last May. So my gosh, I think I've been on Substack for about a year now. And what I have over there is my newsletter. It's basically a platform for newsletters, if you aren't familiar. Kind of, if you like a hybrid of blog posts / newsletters. You can read Substacks on the actual site, or you can get them delivered to your inbox just like you would a newsletter. So what I try to do, and I'm not the most consistent about this, but my goal is every Friday to have a post up. Every other Friday is just free, open, anyone can read them, talking about whatever I feel like talking about with writing and editing and publishing that week. And then the other Fridays, every other Friday, is an Ask the Editor series, and that is for paid subscribers. That is $5 a month, and it's like a cancel anytime kind of thing. And what I do is, the reason I put it behind a paywall is because I have a form that's at the bottom of every newsletter, and subscribers can submit their writing. Like, you could send me a query, a synopsis, chapters, anything, and know that it is safe behind a paywall, so it's not like out there publicly on the internet. And I'll give you a critique. Or alternatively, you can also just ask me a publishing question like, have you heard anything bad about this particular agency or agent? Because that video that I made last year, I think I made a few actually, about literary agents and agencies behaving quite badly. I still get emails, at least a couple every month, with nervous, soon-to-be querying authors asking my opinions on certain agents and agencies, and I welcome everyone to do that because talking publicly about it does get tricky, but it's something that all authors do. It helps to keep in the know, because I think most agents out there are like really honestly wonderful people. There are some who aren't treating their authors so great. So if you ever have a question about that, feel free to email me, or you can ask me in the Ask the Editor Substack, because like I said, it's behind a paywall, so it's not public. And so I've been doing that every week. And like I mentioned earlier, I also decided a couple months ago to lower my rates for everything that I offer, which includes like query critiques and synopsis critiques, which I think start at like $30, and it might be more if you have a longer synopsis, but like $30 for a query critique. Chapter critiques, I can't remember my price off the top of my head, but there's a word count per word price. It's in the link below. Consultations, if you want to chat over Zoom for a half hour or an hour, and in advance I will read a certain number of pages that you want to send me if there's something specific about your writing you want to talk about. And like I said, I do partial and full manuscript critiques or developmental edits, and for rates, I actually use a very handy calculator on Readsy, which I will also link down below if you just want to get an idea of like what prices would look like. I've still been doing that, and I know a lot of you guys from the YouTube community here have migrated over to Substack with me, and I appreciate that. And more of you are welcome to join if you like. So I have kept that going, and I have still been writing. I did not follow through on my serial fiction thing that I was so excited about that I made the last video about. I do still really love that idea. I think after I made that video and I posted about it on Substack, and I was really ready to get it going, and then I realized, even if it's serialized, even if it's just an open-ended story that I'm telling, it's going to take me a while to get my head around that and to figure out how to plan for that, because I didn't want to just jump into something if I didn't fully know where I was going with it. I am a plotter. I can't help it. And what I was looking for at the time was something that would get me writing, like actually writing a draft of a story and sharing it with people immediately, because I was losing that desire. Well, what ended up happening after that, I can't remember if this even happened. I can't remember when this happened, so forgive me if I'm repeating something from an old video. But I did actually end up getting another middle grade book deal with Scholastic. And since then, I have developed it and written the full draft and gone through a round of revisions, actually 2 rounds of revisions with my editor. And it is actually been up and announced, and I think it's available for pre-order in most places. Some might not quite have the pre-order button yet, but at any rate, it is called How to Save a Dolphin. And it is a Scholastic book with the most 90s Scholastic fair cover I have ever seen. Look at that. I mean, and I mean that in a wonderful way. Like 10-year-old me would have absolutely bought this if she saw it on the shelf at her Scholastic book fair. Dolphin books are very popular at Scholastic. It's kind of like horse books. It's one of those things that apparently it's just eternal. And this was a really, really fun one for me, because I wouldn't quite call it a survival middle grade book, like in the vein of Hatchet, which is, if you've never read it, you should, about a boy who survives a plane crash. But it does have survival elements. It's very different from the other animal adventure books that I have written with Scholastic. This one it is entirely from the girl's point of view. So there actually is not an animal point of view in this one. And the premise is a girl who lives in Galveston, Texas, is out on a fishing boat with her dad when a squall, which is like a huge wall of water, hits, and she's knocked overboard and lost and separated from her dad on the boat. And a pod of dolphins has swum by, and one of the smaller dolphins comes and helps her, and she grabs onto him and is brought back to land. That's all in the first couple chapters. But then what happens, and this is apparently a very common thing, once a dolphin finds its way through all the like inlets and waterways and canals it's very hard for it to find its way back to the ocean, and it can get stuck inland in like a canal or something. And so that's what happens to this dolphin. And so my main character, Danny, is working to try to figure out how to rescue the dolphin, because it's trickier than you would think to get it back to the ocean, all while a massive hurricane is forming over the Gulf of Mexico and is bearing down on Galveston. So there's a very tight timeline and, yeah, a little bit of a survival aspect to it. So it was really fun to write, because I've never written a book where a character is in survival mode in that way, and it was fun to really try to write a tense, tight-paced survival book. Anyway, so that is coming out. I believe the trade publication date is April 6th, 2026, and I think it will be in the Scholastic Clubs and Fairs in the spring catalog, which basically means January. So that's that, and it's very exciting, and my editor and I are already talking about the next book I'll be working on with them, which hopefully I will have some details to share with you soon. I think this one is going to be a little bit going back to the alternating between a kid POV and an animal POV, and of course the animal is a dog. And I will give you a hint. The inspiration for this one is a 80s absolute classic cult classic movie. I would love to hear your guesses in the comments below as to what you think that's going to be. Last time I uploaded a video, as you guys knew, I was doing the van life thing for a little over a year, which was absolutely wonderful. Saw so much of this country that I never would have seen, just so many beautiful locations, and had some amazing hikes. And that came to an end in January, and now I am back in New York City. I lived in Queens for 7 years, quite a long time ago, before Dallas, before I started this channel, and New York definitely feels like home. And I am in Brooklyn, which is great because most of my friends are very close, some even walkable from here, and it just, yeah, I miss New York. I missed, it's insane, it's overpriced, it's crowded, I know, but there's something about it, and if it's your thing, it's just your thing. I don't know what else to say about it. I even missed the MTA. As much as I hate them, I love the subway, and I hate the subway, you know? Rosa and I are here and enjoying being close to Prospect Park, which is like the Central Park of Brooklyn. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's a lake, there's walking trails. There are certain parts of it where you just feel like you're out hiking in the middle of nowhere. You're not in the city at all. And there's a zoo. It's like Central Park. It's like a slightly smaller Central Park. It's absolutely amazing, and Rosa loves it. We go multiple times a day. So yeah, I think that's all for the updates for now. I am going to get my half an hour on my mystery thriller, and tomorrow is going to be a live stream day. I do still join the live streams on Lisa's channel. Man, we have been keeping this going for a while. I think we're into like, oh my gosh, did we start in 2020? Have we been doing this for 5 years? That's insane. It's been a long time. So every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1 p.m. we live stream, we do word sprints if you want to join us. So I've got that tomorrow, and my priority then is going to be, I will definitely be working on my book and also that developmental editing client's book that I'm very excited to read. So that's going to be tomorrow, and then I will check in with you guys on Friday and see how the rest of this week goes.
We are super glad to see you today. Hello, Mama Ward. Very glad to see you. Everybody, hello. There you go. Very nice. Love that. Love that. All right. Horror Geek, nice job on the slasher book. Very sucked right in, so that's good. Yeah. Are you getting any?
Hey there. So it is now Saturday. I completely forgot, even though the camera was sitting right there on my desk, to film anything yesterday, which was Friday. It just turned into one of those, it was another book packager day. We're really trying to make this decision and read through all these samples, and also at the same time doing edits on the proposal that I'm gonna have to give the author we choose, like as soon as we make our decision, because they're gonna have to like jump right in and start writing, and the proposal still needs some work. So yeah, it just turned into a crazy busy day, and I completely forgot to film anything. I think I did film a little bit Thursday. Thursday was same busy book packager day. Also, though, in an effort to be a person who has hobbies that don't involve a laptop screen or a phone screen, which is hard, and also a hobby that excludes reading, because while reading is a great hobby, I do so much of it for my job that it doesn't always feel like a break. Thanks to my mom, who gave me this as a birthday gift, I have been taking a beginner knitting class. In fact, I have some of it right here, and it's been super fun. It was just a 2-day class, like 2 nights a week, and I learned the basic knit stitch and the purl stitch and the seed stitch, and now I'm going to attempt a scarf. If you are into knitting and you have any tips for me, let me know. I will tell you real quick my biggest issue, and I just learned the seed stitch, like this is a very new one for me, but while the other 2 stitches that I make, I've gotten to where my rows look pretty good, my seed stitches are super loose. Like nobody wants a scarf that looks like the way mine does, and I know I just need to like practice it more, but yeah, I need to like tighten them up a little bit. So anyway, it is a very fun Zen hobby. Once I figured it out and got into the groove of it, I was like, oh, I get it. I see why people enjoy this. And so the other thing that I have been doing for the last couple weeks is there's a community garden in my neighborhood, and I've been volunteering there. My shift starts at about half an hour. Last week was actually kind of a busy one there because it was an Earth Day celebration, and so there was we had like a bake sale, and people could come in and tour the garden, and there were children's activities, and people just bought. It was almost kind of like not a garage sale, a yard sale. People could just bring things in, and if you wanted to buy something, it was just however much cash you wanted to give for that item to donate to the garden. And yeah, it was just such a great day. I bought some homemade biscuits that were seriously delicious. Also a jar of apple butter, very delicious. And today is going to be, I'm sure, a much quieter day. We're mostly working on just, weeding, watering, planting some herbs. Everything is just kind of starting to bloom. And I also think we're going to be putting in a new irrigation system. So starting maybe next week, that's going to be a little more intensive work. But yeah, it's been really fun. And just in the spirit of spring today, I have been cleaning, like really deep cleaning. As in pull out the giant area rug and scrub it down with baking soda and vinegar and vacuum everywhere underneath and try to chase all the Rosa hairballs because, oh my God, like I cannot keep up with Rosa's hair. It's crazy. Anyway, so that's the weekend, and then tomorrow I'll get back to, having a nice rest day and then planning for another week, and hopefully I will vlog it. And that's it. I really miss you guys. I'm happy to be back. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about in particular in these videos, anything going on in publishing you just want to chat about, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye.